Hey guys, it's Odaiba here, and in this video we're going to take a look at Yuffie at her maximum potential in World of Visions JP. Now before we get into all of that, I just want to take a quick moment to address some concerns that some players may have had about Fire Evade possibly being unbeatable. Because apparently there was a video that showed Fire Evade beating every single team that was thrown at them. And so some people have suddenly this thinking that maybe Fire Evade is too strong in World of Visions JP. And before we even show you the matches for today, I'm just going to show you this screenshot from my mock battle last night, clearly showing you guys that it's definitely possible to beat Fire Evade. In fact, what I did was I just took the win team that I've been using all along this map and made like some very tiny adjustments, and that alone was able to allow me to get a 6-star victory against pretty much all of the Fire Evade teams that I fought against in mock battle. Now of course, the people that I mocked against are just regular guild battle people, and they don't really have a maximum stat Yuffie at their disposal. So that's what we're going to take a look at in the rest of this video. By the way, all of the information and the match footage that you see in this video come to us courtesy of Ashobate-san. Ashobate is actually one of the most renowned players in the whole of the World of Visions JP community. He's also widely considered to be one of the strongest, since he was able to come in first place in the official tournaments last year. And in the 3v3 official tournaments this year, his team also came in at overall number 2. So in fact, if a couple of weeks ago, if you were watching the 3rd anniversary livestream alongside me, then Ashobate-san's match was actually one of the matches that you watched during that stream. So this guy, he clearly knows a lot about the game, and for some reason he decided to basically spend all of his reincarnation scrolls and use them on Yuffie, and as a result he's able to take Yuffie up to reincarnation 77 times, and yeah, these are the stats that he was able to get for Yuffie. As you can see here, he has the maximum number of green stars for pretty much all of the stats except for luck and magic. So let's see here, a total of plus 1300 HP, an additional 16 AP, 100 over extra ATK, and then for evasion, over here he has the maximum possible is an additional 20, but at reincarnation 77 he has managed to get it up to plus 17, and then for luck plus 40 out of 45. So all these extra stats add up to the stat screen you see over here. His level 140 Yuffie is at luck 621 with a HP total of 8400, ATK of over 1600, and agility at 121, although you can't actually get any agility boost from the reincarnation feature. So with this setup, I've actually went ahead and took all of the values that you see here, as well as his evasion bonus that he gave in a separate screenshot, and I put everything in a evasion calculator, and it works out to a grand total of 347% evasion rate. So for those of you who aren't aware, the typical light evasion character in the World of Visions Global is around 315% total evasion rate. So this means that the Yuffie at her maximum stats will more or less give her about 32 to 35% extra evasion, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I suppose depending on the matchup, it could actually make a difference, and I'm sure in the future they will give us more tools to deal with this extra evasion that comes out of Yuffie. So I'm not too worried about that, especially since if you look at, he actually has a screenshot over here. Let me just load it up. So actually he also did a comparison between a level 120 Yuffie and his maximum level, almost maximum reincarnation Yuffie, and the difference seems to be a grand total of 32% evasion rate. So yeah, it's not as much as you would think, And even at just 40 reincarnations, the increase in evasion was only 17%. In other words, if you were to leave Yuffie at level 120, that means that her evasion rate, if I can bring back this screenshot over here, her evasion rate would have been 347% minus 32%, which brings us to 315%. So basically, Yuffie at level 120 is about the same amount of evasion as Starlight Elena, as Pizarro, and other such units. But it is really the reincarnation that will bring her above that total, and it's not by that much. It's only about by 30-something%, which I'm sure you can compensate for in the future using, reincarnation for other characters as well. Because as you can see on the screen here, reincarnation adds accuracy as well. So overall, for those of you who are too worried about what maximum amount of reincarnations can do to units, rest assured that it's going to give a advantage for sure, but it's not going to be game breaking. Alright, with that said, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the matches. In this video, I'm going to spotlight 6 matches, and after that, if you guys want to see more match footage featuring Ashobate's Fire Evade team, you can go ahead and check out the link provided in the video description below, which will take you to his livestream archive where you can watch all of the other matches that he played. So first up, I'm going to show you 3 matches in which Fire Evade managed to win. This is to sort of establish a baseline to show you guys how strong Fire Evade actually is. And then the remaining 3 matches that we'll watch in this video will be teams that were able to defeat Fire Evade. Alright, so with that said, let's go into fight number 1. This is against a water team. So for all of the matches you'll notice that the setup on the Fire Evade side is going to be the same. First, you have Yuffie and Valentine Idira do some evasion buffs that will bring them closer to Pizarro, who will then use Locke's TMR to increase everybody's luck. On the water side, Prene goes in to buff, I think, area resistance, as well as to give herself a buff that will recover HP when her HP gets below 50%. And then here we have Arif coming in with, I think that is some kind of barrier. Now Yuffie does her self buff that gives her the ability to ignore guaranteed hit status for 3 turns. And then now Pizarro puts courage on himself and rushes ahead. Next up we have, this is the same area resistance buff that Prene previously did. And then I didn't quite catch that, but it's basically one of the Scholar self buffs. Alright, Yuffie does the first contact with her Limit Burst. This Limit Burst will increase her defense penetration up from 60 to 100. But as you can see here, there's not that much damage being done. But Valentine Idira comes in and does a clutch amount of damage, which is followed up by Pizarro for the kill. I don't know what this is, but it seems like Arif just restored AP for Prene. If somebody knows what that Arif skill is, kindly let me know in the comments below, because I don't think I've seen it before. And I also don't have Arif built, so I'm not really familiar with her skill set. Alright, next up Pizarro does Dark Matter +1. This is an elementless skill. Possibly because, he's fighting against water team, so all of his fire attacks probably don't do as much damage compared to the elementless attack. And Prene was able to trigger Pizarro's courage. Okay, and now Yuffie is going for the backline, trying to take out Arif. Valentine Idira gets in close and does sharpshoot against Prene. Dark Matter finishes. Okay, so Arif still has a little bit of health left, surprisingly. But Yuffie is able to get to the backline and just closes it out against Arif. And now we are in a 1 versus 3 situation. So if anything, it looks like this fight, even though, you know, it's fire versus water, it seemed like water didn't really have their movement rotations very well. And also, especially with Summer Elcirel, I believe that Summer Elcirel kind of underperformed in this fight. Okay, so 2 versus 1 now. And Prene is able to take down Pizarro. Kind of close right now. I think this is the correct fight. If this is the correct fight I've loaded up, then Fire Evade should be the one that wins. Okay, they do. Alright. So there you go. That's the first fight down. As you can see, it is definitely possible for Fire Evade to beat water teams. Next up, we're going to look at Fire Evade versus Dark. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to say that I believe Dark, I don't think Ruin Stern works as well in this team combination, and I think that may have been one reason for their downfall in this fight, but we'll see how that goes. So as usual, Fire Evade starts things off with their usual set moves. Buff a bunch of evasion into luck increase. And now Sephiroth goes to Ruinstern to do his AoE buff. And Ruinstern uses, I forgot the name, but it's the move that increases evasion. Lemure gives haste onto herself and Sephiroth. Okay. Barrier and AP recovery on Valentine Yadira. Now this is the part I don't really like about Sephiroth's team here, because if you don't get your movements down right for Dark team, Sephiroth is going to use his AoE buff twice onto 2 different teammates, and that means that he will use his TMR later than usual, and that could potentially have an effect on the fight. Anyway, now all 3 members of the Dark team have haste applied, and Yuffie goes in for the Limit Burst attack. Not a lot of damage despite having 100% defense penetration. So as you can see there, I believe that was Bells. You know what, let's take a look at it again. I'm not sure what that was actually. Yes, that was Bells, Revitalize. And then now Valentine Yatera goes in with the Limit Burst. This Limit Burst is particularly noteworthy because it not only is it an AoE attack, but it also decreases CT on the targets that it hits. And Ruinstern is down due to that attack. Pizarro goes in for more damage, but not before getting countered by Sephiroth's preemptive counter. Remure tries to stop Pizarro, but it fails. And the next move from Valentine Yadira is going to take down Sephiroth. So, for those who are not aware already, the preemptive counter attack from Sephiroth is one of the effects from his AoE buff. So with that, we have 2 teams down. I think this match as well, the Dark team lost because of, movement mistakes. Like the way that the team moved around and the way that, Ruinstern and Sephiroth pretty much came out into the fight one by one. I think that was their downfall, really. So now we're going to look at the third and final match in which Fire Evade was able to reign victorious, and this is against a water team. So right off the bat, because I already showed you the screenshot of my team, I can tell you that if suddenly switches places with Jum, there's a good chance that they will have a better chance at actually succeeding against Fire Evade. All of this really comes down to movement. So once again, Fire Evade starts with their typical setup. Both members come in to buff evasion so that they are all bunched up for Pizarro to do Locke's TMR buff. Now this time, because the enemy team has a tank, Jum with the hate, so Pizarro is going on the right hand side instead of the left hand side as usual. Suddenly comes in with Dogma. That's the move that gives Jum re-raise as well as hate up. Okay. Berry up on Valentine Udira. And Courage on Pizarro. So we should be getting into the range for fighting soon. In fact, June is going to start with first contact. And I don't like this part. I don't like Sadly coming up to do the AoE buff. So that's probably one of the things that the Sadly should have turned off. Because all it really does is, put himself into range for any AoE attacks on the fire evade side of things. So as you can see here, Valentine Udira goes in for a limit burst. Look at the damage on Sadly, and they both have CT down. For Yuffie, unfortunately, she is not able to get in close enough. But I think her limit burst is single target anyway, so it doesn't actually change that much. But Pizarro definitely, look at that damage. Just because Sadly went in for the AoE buff, straight away he's, kind of committing suicide there. Just taking a bunch of damage from 2 attacks, and Sadly is now out of the picture. So definitely that is one of the mistakes that the win team made, I believe. And Yuffie goes in for triple hit attack, and I think she dispelled something, but I didn't manage to catch what. June with the hate up and protect and shell, but it is she has way too little HP for it to even matter. So Pizarro takes down June, and now Valentine Udira does the same against Glaciella. And there we go, 3 fights down with Fire Evade succeeding in all of them so far. So if you stop watching the video here, you might think that Fire Evade is incredible, that it can beat so many things, but I'm going to show you in the next 3 fights that that's really not the case. Starting with Fire versus Water. So obviously I'm going to show you guys the most obvious elemental counter to Fire Evade, right? Because, as long as you have a water team with decent movements, with enough accuracy stacked, obviously you're going to be able to win against Fire Evade. So the difference in terms of team combination, I believe the team that we saw earlier had Aerith, but the team that we're watching now has Asterisk instead of Aerith. Once again, Fire Evade, typical startup movement. For some reason Pizarro goes to the left. I suppose it's because the water team does not have any targets with hate up on them. As usual, Prene goes in to do AoE buff, and Asterisk does the move that gives him increased HP as well as HP drain. Yuffie with the self buff that will allow her to ignore guaranteed hit status. Oh, this is interesting. Valentine Udira is going to the right for some reason. That may be a problem for Fire Evade moving forward. We'll see how it goes. More buffs on the water team side of things. And now I believe that is some kind of Bury and Protect. On Summer Alcira, I mean. Okay, and now we are not quite in range yet. So as you can see here, the movements on the Fire Evade side is not exactly ideal. You have your teammates split up like that, and at least 2 of the units now have had to work for it and miss a turn. But Summer Alcira doesn't manage to hit them, so that's the good part for Fire Evade. Yuffie closes in for, I believe this is the... Actually, let me take a look. This is the move that can apply blind, that has the greatest chance to apply blind on its targets. Asterisk goes in with, I believe that was his guaranteed hit move. And then Valentine Udira comes in for Limit Burst. There's one combo that's particularly nasty on the Fire Evade side of things, which is Valentine Udira's Limit Burst, which lowers CT on targets. And then every single time Yuffie is able to evade something, her CT goes up. So between these 2 things, there's a good chance that Yuffie can actually, take an extra turn. But it looks like we are not going to see that right now. With that said, Yuffie's AoE attack does manage to take down Asterisk, and Prene is blinded, so normally she would not be at a advantage here, but because she does have a guaranteed hit move, she takes down Valentine Ildira in one attack. And that right there, Summer Elthiriel casting Unevadable Pain, and it takes out Yuffie in one single hit. Okay, and finally, Prene comes in with another guaranteed hit move and takes out Pizarro for the win. So as you can see there, even though Yuffie has the ability to ignore guaranteed hit status for 3 turns, eventually it does run out. And when it does run out, then you're kind of in trouble. Alright, next up we're going to take a look at Fiery Evade versus Dark. This fight is particularly interesting because of, well, you'll see how it goes. This, I really enjoy watching this fight, let's just say that. So as usual, we start off with the typical Fiery Evade setup. And then on Dark's side, Leela comes in with a tactical buff. This is the one that gives her HP recovery when her HP is too low. Sephiroth does Masamune stance onto Remure. This gives light resistance up, reaction block up, and also gives Sephiroth access to a 3-turn preemptive counter attack versus physical attacks. Barrier and AP recovery on Valentine Ildira as usual. And Sephiroth does the Masamune stance buff onto Leela the Bold as well. Remure casts Re-Raise on herself. Okay, Courage on Pizarro. And this is Courage on Leela the Bold. One more Masamune stance buff onto his allies, Sephiroth's allies. See, that's the problem with Sephiroth. Like, if your movements are not really, tuned well, then you end up just wasting a lot of turns using that buff over and over. Now Leela the Bold gets in with Delightful, I forgot what the move is called, but it's the AoE move that has 30% extra chance to hit. And then Sephiroth comes in with his Limit Burst, and that straight away takes out 2 of the 3 members of Fire Evade. Delightful something into Limit Burst from Sephiroth. Yuffie tries to recover by going in with an AoE attack, but it seems to be too late. Remure does a Quicken on Sephiroth, who then finishes with Prison Gates, and that's the fight, you guys. So as you can see there, Leela the Bold and Sephiroth seem to be a pretty decent counter against Fire Evade if you have the, what is the move called? I don't even remember the move anyway. It's Delightful something. With Leela the Bold, if you have enough accuracy on her, all she has to do is use that AoE attack, and then Sephiroth come in and follow it up with Limit Burst. And that will more or less take out at least 2 members of the team. Alright, next up we have Fire Evade versus Wind. Now this version of the Wind team has Ayaka instead of Sadali, and the difference between these 2 teams is that they have slightly different matchups against certain other teams. But in any case, this is just because it doesn't have Sadali doesn't mean that it's not good. This is considered to be one of the meta win teams right now in JP. So we're gonna have a look and see how they perform. Okay, so as usual, Fire Evade does their startup phase, the startup movements. And then on the Wind side of things, oh, not yet. Now on the Wind side of things, Ayaka starts chanting for something. I don't know what yet. And then Glassala comes in with the accuracy buff. Accuracy and AP recovery on critical buff, I believe. June does Head Up and Protect and Shell. And Ayaka gives June Haste and Defense Up. Shadow Dance on Valentine Ildira. And now June should be, oh, not close enough. June does Defense, Penetration Up, and something else. I forgot what it is. Or rather, I didn't quite catch that. Ayaka is chanting again. before that goes off. Oh, there we go. It's HP drain and defense up. So now we seem to be in range for the fight. Jim comes in with, I believe, some kind of AoE move. I don't know which one. Okay, and then Ayaka does, I believe, the buff onto Glassela. Protect removal. Okay, so now Glassela also has haste and defense up, and she comes in for the triple hit move. Valentine Udira comes in for the limit burst, and this one hits all 3 members of the opponent team. Slight CT down on all 3 of them. And Pizarro comes in. Let's see how much damage he can deal. Not that much. Now it's June's turn to attack. Don't know which attack that is, but it's one of her AoE skills. Yuffie tries to do more damage, and I believe the next move is going to close it out. Yep, there we go. So as you can see here, Glassela is definitely a really strong opponent for Fire Evade. Alright, so that's all the footage I picked out to show you guys today. Basically, I just wanted to show you guys. So if you notice, the fights are actually, you know, I picked exactly 1 winning and 1 losing fight each for versus Water, versus Dark, and versus Wind, because those 3 teams are the known elements that you know, that people know can actually do well against Fire Evade. Now I'm sure there are other teams that can also, you know, do as well versus Fire Evade, and it's something that we will continue to experiment with. Definitely after tonight's guild battle, we'll have an even better idea of what other teams are good versus Fire Evade and what other teams will just flat out lose to them. So if you enjoyed what you see here, definitely consider subscribing to my channel, ring the notifications bell, and later this week and early next week, I'm definitely going to try and make more videos to let you guys know what the latest developments in the JP meta right now is. Also, don't forget to go over to Ashobate-san's YouTube channel and you know, his stream archive, which has way more match footage featuring Fire Evade and his maximum level, maximum reincarnation Yuffie. So if you want to see more of that, definitely check out the link to his stream archive below in the video description. Alright, so that's all from me for now. Later today, I'm planning to upload my video on Emlanus as well as on Sylvie on the global side of things. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care now.